The views and opinions expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Acuma, its board of directors, its management staff, or its members. The podcast discussion presented is conversational in nature and for general information only.
Hello and welcome to Acuma's On Point podcast, a series focused on sharing the stories of people who are making a positive impact in the credit union mortgage industry. I'm your host, Peter Benjamin. Today's episode is being brought to you by LoanCare. LoanCare understands the critical role member satisfaction plays in building long-lasting relationships. Their digital-first approach ensures a seamless, user-friendly mortgage servicing experience that's designed for mobile convenience, so your members have access to all their important information anywhere, anytime. And by leveraging sophisticated analytics and account-based marketing, LoanCare empowers you to deliver tailored financial guidance and relevant product offers to your members throughout the life of their loan. Whether navigating interim financing, servicing home equity products, reducing operational costs, or generating new revenue, LoanCare's award-winning digital tools support effortless portfolio management across diverse mortgage types, investors, and members. Choose LoanCare as your mortgage servicer or strategic partner and committed to combining personalized convenience, advanced technology, and member loyalty to propel your business success. Here we are, kicking off the first episode of our MI mini-series, where we'll have an opportunity to sit down with well-known names and familiar faces within the Acuma community, and people who I would call champions of the credit union movement. To help lay the groundwork and foundation for the mini-series, each of our MI guests will be asked the same questions, and this is honestly an opportunity for them to share their perspectives on what and how we can move this movement forward. To kick things off, our first guest in the MI miniseries probably needs no introduction. I'd like to welcome Ira Ochowski, Vice President of Sales with Arch MI's Credit Union Division. Ira, my friend, how are you doing today?
Peter, I'm doing great, and I'm so excited about this. Thank you for having me on this call. I'm really looking forward to talking about the credit union industry, my background, and just some of the thoughts that we both have regarding the credit union mortgage industry. So thanks for having me.
Oh, no. This is honestly my pleasure. And I couldn't think of a better person to kind of kick off the series. I've known you, throughout my time in the credit union space. I've known you as someone who's very passionate about credit unions, passionate about Acuma, and I couldn't be more excited to sit down with you and have this conversation with you. But again, before we kind of get to the meat and potatoes of today's podcast, got to bring in Hawk. Justin, how are you doing? What's the latest and greatest happening over at Acuma? What's going on, man?
What's going on, Peter? How are you?
Living the dream, man. Living the dream.
I always love that answer, by the way.
Well, there you go.
Can only be living our dreams, right?
That's right, man.
All right,
I mean, there are a few people that wouldn't mind living their dream, but I can think of several people I would mind living their dream, but it's okay.
Is Ira one of them at the top of your list?
No, it's not.
No,
No, it's not.
No worries. Ira, I try.
How do you try that? That's all you can hope for, Justin.
Yeah. No, so a couple weeks ago, we just got back from our second workshop that was in Denver. That was a lot of fun, a lot of engagement. It was a great thing to see. I know that's one of my favorite things, Peter. You've talked about it 1,000 times and continue to talk about it and how that was like one of your very first Acuma events and first things as president. So I'm certain that you were happy with the results that we got to see.
Yeah, no, love it. I mean, the workshops. I mean, I know we often talk about annual being, the event, like the event that people have to go to, but for me, workshops are near and dear to my heart. They're the ones that I take the most vested interest in ensuring that are the most successful. I don't know what it is. They're my passion projects, perhaps. I don't know. But anyways, I'm sorry, man. Yeah. Keep going.
No. That's great. Like it's that intimate setting that's just That's what it really comes down to. It's all of us in one room, just sharing, collaborating, and hearing from some of our great speakers.
Hands down, man. Hands down.
Yeah. Other than that, we in 2 days, if you haven't registered and you're looking to join the YPN,
no.
I'm sorry, the Yippin.
Yippin.
The
Yippins.
Yeah, so if you're looking to join the Yippins at their next Yippin meeting, it's in 2 days on June 28th. So there's still time to register. Cameron, Liam, and Alberto have a great meeting planned for you. We got to hear from them not too long ago. So definitely looking forward to that. And then annual registration, it is open.
Actually, can I go back?
Yeah, what's up?
I'm a little disappointed in myself because when we did the Yippin podcast, I had this plan that I was going to go in and use like words like Riz and like really sound cool, like use some like young people terms, and I didn't use a single one, and I was so disappointed.
They would have all thought that was sus.
I know.
I can't even do it. No, I might be part of the network, but no, it's too much for me.
Whenever I hear like the term like Rizzler,
I don't even know what that means. So
neither do I. But whenever I hear the term, I'm like, I used to love the restaurant Sizzler. I'm like, oh, Sizzlers were the best. Anyways, keep going.
And this is how you know we're all getting a little bit older.
I know.
But no, annual registration's open. It's been open for a little bit, but we're kicking it off in full gear on June 4th, or it kicked off in full gear on June 4th. And it's going to be in Las Vegas this year, in Nevada, on September 29th to October 2nd. And yes, I know there's probably only one Las Vegas. I didn't really have to specify Nevada. No, it's okay. But no, we have a great agenda, great speakers, the content. I mean, we've been working on that since last annual. So it's really exciting to see it all coming together now. And if you don't know, Peter likes to have some hidden surprises and tricks.
Always.
So if you don't want to miss out on those, then definitely come to annual.
Yeah, I mean, there were some surprises, but there's also just these moments, right, where that I want to make sure that we repeat from last year, right? Like for me, I knew it was going to happen, right? Like we had like the racing of the presidents, right? But for me, like there's this one moment where, and it doesn't happen often when I go to different conferences. It doesn't matter what industry, whether it's credit union or mortgage or who's putting it on. But, I had just left, the opening ceremony, and, I had, the orange crust spilled on me by, I think it was Teddy spilled it on me. And, I was talking to a few people, and, we were going to the evening reception Sunday night, and I just walked in there and the band was playing, and there was 500 people in that opening reception, and the band was playing loud, and they were jamming and rocking out. And I walked in that opening reception in the exhibit hall, and I was like, this is awesome. And I was like, this is what I want. Right. And I was like, this is what an Acumen conference should be like all the time. Like, I want to, like, that feeling that I had, I want to make sure that we have, and it was a feeling that I had, right? I want to make sure that we repeat that same, that we create that feeling for our members every year going forward. How we create that for someone, I don't know, because it was a feeling that I had, but just that experience, right? And I don't know how we do it, but we always have to have a trick up our sleeve, and hopefully we repeat it.
Last year it was like 90s rock. Next year, this year it could be, 90s country, 60s country.
No.
Okay.
Yacht rock. We're doing yacht rock.
No, we're definitely not doing yacht rock.
100% yacht rock.
Other than that, we have fast tracks and inside tracks happening year round. So there's always content for you out on our network. For anything and to stay up to date with us, just head over to the website, acumen.org, and catch the latest.
Love it. Hawk, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ira, my friend. Again, thank you very much for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Please do not ask me what yippin means or Riz.
Well, all right. So for Yippins, so it's the Young Professional Network, right? And so we made this joke a few episodes back where Cam, she has this network of young professionals that, even though I'm 44 and still very much young and in my prime, I'm not allowed to attend because I've aged out of this group. I was like,
Is that allowed, Peter? Is that allowed?
Apparently it is. Apparently it is. But I was like, I got tired of calling them the young professional network, the YPNs. So I was like, I'm gonna just start calling them Yippins. So, anyways, so that's what they are. So, I have no idea what Riz means, but but anyways, I'm gonna pull back a little bit. So, like I in my introduction, I said, for the ground to kind of lay the groundwork for the MI mini series, I'm gonna ask all of our MI partners are the champions of the credit union movement, the handful of MI partners that we selected or champions for the credit union movement, the same series of questions, right? The first question, I didn't want to go too far away from the identity of this podcast. All right. So for you, Ira, the identity of this podcast was created based on the idea that when you look at the credit union industry and when you look at the credit union mortgage world, there are a lot of people in this space, credit union mortgage space, that are doing a lot of great things. And we need to highlight that, right? And so let's dive into the people side of this. Why do they do what they do? How do they do what they do? How do we motivate others to be better at what they do? Right. So let's focus on the human factor of what we do. Right. And so this podcast kind of evolved into like this human piece, right? Not something. Yeah, we talk about leadership. Yeah, we talk sometimes on motivation. We talk about accountability, which is a word that grinds my gears. Sometimes we talk about change management. Sometimes we talk about motivating younger professionals and training, right? We talk about a whole bunch of different things in this podcast, right? But it always boils down to, who are we? Okay. So the first question kind of comes back to that, right? We see you at the events. You've been involved in this community for a very long time, but not everyone may know who you are. So first question is, for the sake of our audience and our listeners, tell us a little bit about yourself. And I guess there's a second part to this question. Tell us a little bit about yourself, but also why do you love being on the MI side of the mortgage industry? Okay. Two-part question. And that's question number one. Why do you tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's start with that. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I mean, you probably could tell I grew up in New York. You could tell by my accent.
Could not tell. I was thinking like Georgia. I was thinking Georgia.
No, exactly. I think I have like a Southern accent, but everybody says to me I have a New York accent, and I can't imagine why. So
I know.
The comparisons to Ray Romano, I'm kind of getting tired of it, but they say I sound exactly like Ray Romano. So I'll let your listeners decide whether or not that's the case. I graduated from Hofstra University with a BBA in accounting. And right after that, when I graduated in 1981, I went right into the banking world, a bank called Little Bank, and I'm being sarcastic, a very large bank called Manufacturers Hanover Trust. I ended up going into the retail banking side. I eventually was a commercial lender, and then I was a mortgage lender since 1981. Before that, before coming to the credit union world, I headed up the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency, which I was the executive director there from 1994, and I left there in 1996. I left there in 2000, but I was executive director there for 2 years. I was also, people don't know this about me, I was a politician. Please don't boo me. Please don't shut off this podcast.
We're done. We're done.
Exactly. I was the mayor of the township in New Jersey called East Brunswick Township. And throughout the 90s, I was a mayor, but I also was working full time. Which is what happens in New Jersey as a mortgage banker as well. I came to this credit union world 25 years ago as president of the CUSO called Cumanet. It was a nationwide CUSO. It was owned by, among other credit unions, owned by Affinity Federal Credit Union, who I know is a long-term member of Acuma. Mm-hmm. And by the way, it is Acuma, correct, Peter?
100%. Thank you very much for saying it right. Thank you very much.
There used to be an East-West disagreement on that, Acuma or Acuma. I just wanted to make sure that I said it right.
No, I appreciate you.
All these years. I was actually a former Acuma board member, too. Was a board member in the early 2000s. And, again, proud to have done that as well. I came to ArchMI 19 years ago through its predecessor, CMGMI, and I'm currently the Vice President of Credit Union Eastern Sales of Arch Mortgage Insurance for credit unions. I'm very, very proud to have worked there. We are really completely dedicated to the credit union space, and I really, really, look forward to coming into work every day and meeting with credit unions across the country.
So, all right. So you spend time obviously on both sides, right? We'll say on the primary market, on the origination side, and here you on the MI side, right? So, as someone who loves the credit union movement, right? I don't want to put words in your mouth, right? But and please forgive me if I'm leading you down a path, but it almost seems like your passion, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost seems like you love being in the MI space because it gives you an opportunity to almost be that confidant, to be that to be that consultant for the credit union, right? You can counsel them on best practices, on help them be better. It's not, yes, MI is a part of it, right? Yes, MI can easily protect homeowners. It can protect the credit union. Yes, there are aspects of that, but for you, I've seen you in action. And I've seen other champions of the credit union movement in action. But for you, I really sense that it's more about the care of helping others understand and be better. Is that why you love being on that MI side over one or the other?
I do, but I'll add one thing: is not only do I get to teach and I express my experience to people within the credit union mortgage credit union mortgage industry, but I also go ahead and have an opportunity to learn from them as well. You mentioned early on about the amount of talent that's out there. There is an amazing amount of talent that's out there, and the exchange of ideas is what I really, really love. My job at ArchMI and working with some of the best professionals at ArchMI is really to go visit credit unions, offer them suggestions, offer them what is happening in the industry, talking about things like Acuma, talking about the importance of Acuma, really talking about what's happening across the entire mortgage industry. And that's what I'm doing on a really daily basis. I'm talking to credit unions and sharing information. They are sharing information with me. And when we share information, and I'll mention this, when we share information among ourselves, we make each other better. So we all rise to the next level. I love the MI side of the mortgage industry. You were asking about that. Strictly because we are helping people. We are helping people achieve the dream of home ownership. You have to have a focus. When I was at the state housing agency, we helped people that needed affordable homes on a regular basis. When I came to the credit union industry, we were helping members. We were helping members on a daily basis. And that is our goal, is to make sure that they are helped through the process. That's what I love about the mortgage industry, the MI side of the mortgage industry, because I get to do that every single day. And that's very enjoyable. And I can see where people have achieved the dream of home ownership because of mortgage insurance.
So, for me, I always viewed MI as an arrow, right? And so for me, as a lender, as a credit union lender, right, I have my quiver, right? and I'm not sure if you knew this about me, but I was an Eagle Scout, and I grew up hunting, even though most people don't know that about me. I actually was a bow hunter, had a recurve and a compound. Very good at archery. And so I always use this analogy, like, I had my quiver with my arrows, and as a mortgage lender, I had different arrows. I had my HFAs, I had my portfolio loans, I had different things, but then I also had MI loans, right? There are different things for different tasks, and MI loans are a different arrow who can help a homeowner or a potential homeowner buy their first home or repeat, right? And that's all it really is, right? It's just MI is another arrow in the quiver, right? And
yeah, Peter, I think that's a really good point. And it's, no matter what, it's a very, very positive issue to bring up to help members. I know members still to this day that really truly believe they have to come up with 20% down. They still do. I know a lot of young people that never even heard of mortgage insurance. And there is something available that is not a necessary evil, which some people used to think MI was. It's something to help people when they don't have the 20% down. The credit unions, the banks really want to do these loans, but they cannot go ahead and do it unless there's 20% down. And the mortgage insurance industry, and I'm very, very proud of Arch and working just with credit unions, helps people come up with that shortfall on their down payment. Let's face it, I don't know how any young people come up with down payments for 20%. It's not possible. It might have been possible in 1981 when I was first a homeowner, but it's not possible today. It really, truly is not possible. So you need MI, and MI helps you get to that process without coming up with 20% down.
Right. All right. So let's move along. Okay. So I appreciate you kind of walking us through that. So you hinted at this earlier on, right? The credit union movement and why you love credit unions, and you hinted at sharing, right? And I've shared my love of the credit union movement and the power of credit unions in the past. But I want to hear from you, because again, the purpose behind the MI mini series is hearing from people who believe in the credit unions, who are champions of the credit union movement. So from your perspective, why do you, Ira, love the credit union movement?
Well, it's very simple. There used to be an adage, and I'm sure, Peter, you've heard it. I don't know if everybody's heard it, but credit unions were people helping people. And to me, that's what I've lived through for the last 20 years. We are all people helping people. And even though that adage isn't used as much as it used to be, I still believe that we as CU people continue to help our members. We do that by hand-holding our members through the financial process. And to me, credit unions are the only ones that are able to do that. Banking side, there's too much pressure on income, and don't get me wrong, credit unions should be very profitable and make money. But simultaneously, their number one goal is them helping members through the process. And, we also share information that is unlike the banking world. I remember I was at a conference that had bankers and credit unions years ago. And I was a former banker, as I mentioned in the opening, and I know you were, Peter, as well. We all were.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like AA, right? It's like first steps admitting, right? Admitting you have a problem.
I got off of that. I finally got off of the banking side. It took me a couple of years, but I was so proud to be on the banking side, the credit union side, for another reason, and that's sharing information. Again, I was at a conference. I started to say this. I was at a conference where there were banking people and credit union people. And the credit union people were all sharing information. They were raising their hands. They were expressing their thoughts. And the banking people were totally quiet. They did not say a word this entire meeting. And I couldn't figure out why. I figured they were pretty proud of their accomplishments. I figured they wanted to kind of discuss things that were affecting their organization, but they did not share anything. And I went up to a few bankers afterwards and I said, how come you didn't speak up? How come you didn't express yourselves? And they go, we don't share information with the competitors. And I said, you mean share it with credit unions? They said, no, we don't share information with anybody. That's why I'm so proud of the credit union industry. We all share information. That is what I guess Acuma, you could comment on that. Acuma is all about it, sharing information and making each of ourselves better. And that's another reason why I love the industry. I also love the experience. I mentioned about Arch MI. We have some people, I'm the baby of the group. And again, I've been there 19 years. My leadership, my boss, Tom Murphy, has been there 25 years. My colleague in the Western Division has been there over 20 years. But also the experience of people we run into in the credit union world, 20, 30, 35 years in the industry, within the credit union industry, just as long. And I'm just proud to see that, because the other thing about credit unions, we don't move around as much as the banking side. We kind of stay put. We help our organization, and we all have that goal for people helping people.
It's interesting, right? Because it's people helping people, right? It can mean a couple different things, right? Yes, it can mean credit union to member, right? But when I think of the credit union movement, only because obviously I'm the president of Acuma, I also see it within the community, right? That bleeds over to credit union helping credit union, right? And you said that very much so in your response to my question, but also to kind of going back to what I guess the latter part of your response, thinking back to my time as a banker, when I would hear, in the bank side, okay, well, you have people working for a bank for 20, 30 years. That was almost a weakness, right? But in the credit union space, I have found that as actually a strength. It's a strength because that person, because they are so invested in their community and so invested within their credit union, they really strive to be better every single day. They are well educated, and I'm not necessarily talking about college degrees. I'm talking about professionally educated, and I love that response. I really do, because it couldn't be more true. So thank you very much for that. I love the response.
And Peter, compliment to you. I think you live that. I think you communicate that at Acuma. You really show the credit union world that it is a strength. Some people may actually say it's a negative, but it's not. We should all be proud of that. We should all be proud of what how we react to members, how we react to each other, and realize it is a strength. And I've heard you talk about this on many, many occasions. I heard it at Acuma in various sections. But there are some people still think it's a negative, it's a weakness, but it really, truly is a strength. And we should be very, very proud of that.
And I mean, just to add to that, like I've even heard from some of our members, you take that specialness that we have that you're talking about, that collaboration, that credit union movement where they're coming in, they're sharing. And the word that comes to mind whenever you talk about the big banks is competition. Like it's always about competition. Like they're always competing with one another. Whereas in the credit union space, and this is something I've heard over and over again, it's when one credit union sells a mortgage or gets a mortgage for a member or their member or a family or whatever the case may be, then all credit unions win. So it's that everybody wins mantra, and that's what makes credit unions so successful, and that's what makes that movement so special that we always talk about.
Yep.
I agree, Justin. And I have to tell you again, when I was in the banking world, such a long time ago, but when I was in the banking world, I had no, what's the word that I'm looking for? I had no good feeling about what I was trying to accomplish. All I had was, okay, I want to make a profit. Any way I could do to make a profit for my organization, that's what I will do, right? And to me, when I got to the state housing agency, but then when I got to the credit union industry, it was all about the member and serving the membership. And, I have to tell you, the one frustration I have right now with credit unions is we have a lot of jealousy of what the banks are doing. We have a lot of jealousy sometimes of what Rocket Mortgage is doing.
Well, hold that thought. Hold that thought.
Yes.
That's my next question. What should credit unions be doing differently?
I have to tell you, I wouldn't even say differently. I'd rather say, what should we continue to do that's the same as we're doing today? Okay. But be proud of the kind of service and hand-holding that we do. We shouldn't be jealous of what's happening on the banking side. There's no reason to be jealous of that. Rather, we should be proud of how we are doing it today. Yes, we can learn about new products that are available. We can learn about new services that are available on the mortgage side. We could follow the MBA and see what's happening with the economy. We can see what's going out there, but we should not get away from people helping people. And I think there, unfortunately, some credit unions that are trying to be exactly like these big entities, Rocket Mortgage, but what they do cannot be duplicated. What credit unions do cannot be duplicated. It cannot, because clearly it costs money. Banks are not interested in things that cost money. But hand-holding a new member, hand-holding an existing member through the process, that's what we have to go ahead and continue to do, and we have to do it well. Yes, we need to make sure we have the right products for our members. We have to make sure that we have the right services for the members. We need to find ways to do things in reaching out to realtors. We need to do a lot of those things, but let's be all proud of that hand-holding and that member service that is not going to ever be duplicated on the banking side. So I would change your words a little, Peter, not differently, fair. Let's keep on doing things the way we're doing it, but just better, and be proud of the things that we're doing from the member service standpoint.
So bring in the new technology, but don't forget what got you here. Bring in the new products, but don't forget what got you here.
Lean into what makes us special.
Lean into our identity.
Yeah.
While ushering in new eras. I don't know how to frame it, but I get what you're saying. I love it.
But Peter, that's the point. I think a lot of young people. I actually wish. This is my wish. Us all together, the MI industry, Acuma, various others, put out a Super Bowl piece, just educating people on what credit unions go ahead and can do for you. Simply put, there's a lot of people out there looking. They're standing on the sidelines. I think you said, or somebody said at the last Acuma, there's upwards of 5 million people sitting on the sidelines. Mm-hmm. And some of them are thinking about calling Rocket Mortgage or a bank. Stop it. Just go to your local credit union and speak to that credit union, and they'll handhold you through the process. It will be a great experience, I promise you. And that's what we should be promoting, is how we are different from banks, rather than saying we need to do something what we are doing the same, but even better currently.
I love it. All right, last question. And again, this is you kind of answered it throughout our conversation, but I'm going to ask it anyways. So why do you love the Acuma community? And I guess the second part of this would be, if we had someone who is new to this community, why would you? What would be? Why is it so important for them to attend an Acuma event? And here we are, I guess a few months out, actually about 6 months out from Acuma Annual. Why is it so important for them to attend Acuma Annual?
Again, we're all trying to be better at what we do. And, I say to credit unions really daily, Acuma is the only entity that looks out for the credit union mortgage process. I should say the only trade organization that does that. There are other trade organizations that make a futile attempt to do things like that, but Acuma has been living it forever. I'm associated with Acuma for 25 years now, and every year when I go to Acuma, every time I go to the main meeting or I go to kind of one of the breakout meetings, I have to tell you, I walk away more intelligent than I ever was. And I think I know the industry really well, but I learn something every single time I go there. Not only that is I have an opportunity to interact with others. I teach and I learn at every one of these Acuma events. And again, there is no other entity. I don't care if you go to, I'm not going to even mention them, but if you go to these other entities, their trade shows or their meetings, I will tell you they do not look out for the mortgage industry as well as Acuma does. Okay. So again, I've been associated for 25 years. I've been going to meetings for those 25 years, and it's eye-opening every single time I go to the meetings. I recommend that everybody put it into their budget. I'm always surprised when people say it's not in their budget, but for the few dollars it costs, I'm going to call it few dollars it costs, the financial benefit is just amazing. So I would recommend everybody put it onto their agenda, their annual travel, and at least try one and make sure they're visiting it. Also, I would definitely go on to Acuma.org. Peter, you should be doing this, but I'm going to do it because there's a load of information on that site. And you can go ahead and use that information. And you can also, once you meet people and once you can talk to people at the Acuma conference, you interact them for the rest of your career. So I speak to people that I met 25 years ago. I speak to those people on a regular basis. I speak to so many people on a regular basis. And again, just so much talent within that, these types of meetings. So I'm proud to be an Acuma member, and I am confident that Acuma is going to get stronger and stronger over the next many years, and I'm proud to be part of that group.
Well, Ira, thank you very much for that. We appreciate the words of confidence and everything you just said. Well, it's time for us to transition to the second segment of our podcast. And again, this is where we do Jeopardy. Sometimes we do fun facts. We do a little game of ranking. But today, and for the MI mini series, we're doing the crowd favorite. This is the most requested segment that we do, dad jokes. And so, Ira, I ask that you bring 3 dad jokes to the podcast with you. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask that you run through your 3 dad jokes. I'll let Justin run through his 3 dad jokes. I'll do my 3 dad jokes, and then we'll wrap up the show. Sound good?
That sounds great. If anybody that knows me, they know I'm all about dad jokes. So
Perfect.
I have a bunch of them, but here's the first one. What do you get if you cross an angry sheep and a moody cow?
Bad milk.
Bad
mood.
Bad mood.
That's good too.
That was good too. That was good, Ira.
Okay. What do you call an illegally parked frog?
What?
A toad. A toad. I thank Peter for laughing at that one. That was okay. And if you had the last one, if you have 10 eggs in one hand and 8 apples in the other hand, what do you have?
A handful of eggs and apples.
No, you have really big hands. Those are my big 3. So I'm looking forward to hearing yours and Justin's.
All right, Justin, go.
All right, we're going to stick with math. How do you get 100 teachers in a room that only fits 99? You carry the 1.
I like that one. I like that one.
All right. Why did the God of Thunder have to stretch his leg muscles?
Why?
He was a little Thor.
That was good.
All right, Ira.
Not to say that one.
Yeah, Ira, I got one for you. So Ira, what's the difference between a piano, a tuna, and a pot of glue?
Piano, tuna, and a pot of glue. I don't know. What's the difference?
You can tuna a piano, but you can't piano a tuna. What about the pot of glue?
Yeah, that's right.
I knew you'd get stuck on that one.
I like that one.
All right, Justin, you good?
Yep.
All right. I too am going to start off with a math joke. What did one math book say to the other math book?
What's that, Peter?
Don't bother me. I got my own problems. All right. Over the weekend, I drank invisible ink and had to go to the hospital. After 12 hours, I still hadn't been seen. Okay. Last one.
I like that.
What's the difference between a hippo and a zippo?
I don't know.
Zippo and a Zippo. Go ahead now.
One is heavy and one's a little lighter. All right. And that wraps up dad jokes. That wraps up dad jokes for this episode of the MI miniseries. Ira, thank you very much for joining us today.
Peter, thanks for having me. Appreciate that.
Of course. As always, we appreciate everything that you do for the credit union movement. Again, enjoyed our conversation. This was fantastic. Really do appreciate you being here, taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. This was great. Really mean it.
Thank you, and thanks for all the work you do on Acuma, Peter. I really truly appreciate that. And so, thank you, Justin, and your entire team.
Of course, thank you.
And Hawk, thank you very much for being here.
Of course, my pleasure.
Okay. And thank you again to Loan Care for sponsoring today's episode. And to all of you, we know your time is valuable. Thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of Acuma's On Point podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, be well, my friends.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time at the Acuma On Point podcast. If not already, be sure to subscribe and give us a 5-star rating. For more great episodes and information, be sure to visit us online at acuma.org. And to get the latest updates, head over to our LinkedIn page.